Hey everyone, this is a 4-string CBG lesson for Green River by CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. They had a lot of famous songs, and this is one of my personal favorites, especially to play on a CBG. I'm going to, well, we are tuned to an open G. Our low string is a G. Next string is a D. Next string G. And the high string is a B. In CCR, John gets to play all the little cool parts and sing and all that. His brother Tom played rhythm guitar in the background. And in case you have a buddy to play with, and both of you can play both parts, I'm going to just quickly and show you Tom's part, which is just a steady rhythm in the background the entire song. When he comes in, he never stops for the rest of the song, and he only plays 3 chords, and I'm going to show them to you real quick. Of course, John starts the song, and right there the rest of the band comes in. Tom's part, we're going to do this E chord right here. We're going to take our index finger, place it on the 1st fret on the upper G string, middle finger on the 2nd fret on the D string, and your ring finger or your pinky on the 4th fret on the low G string. Strike all 3 of those notes together as a chord, and just use your index finger or something to mute the B string. You don't want the B string to ring out right here. And if you're already familiar with the song, you can tell in the background there's some really brisk, really fast strumming going on. And the way I do this, if I'm playing Tom, me and my buddy, we like to both play John's part, so we swap out doing that. And how I play Tom's part is I just kind of I start off with a downstroke, and then I just simply strum it a few times, like, and then I give another downstroke and do the same thing. When I do it really quickly, it sounds like this. Now you can strum that however you want. Actually strum it different when I'm playing it on an actual guitar, a 6-string electric or an acoustic. I actually strum it different, but on here I strum it like that. And in the actual song it's really quick in there, but he's going to do that. When he comes in, he plays that E chord for a really long time. And John's going to do some vocals and a little guitar lick later on, where they go into the bridge. And in there I'll do like 2 times, and I count this as 2. And then we're going to go up here on the 5th fret, and we're going to make the C chord right here. We're going to fret the low G string, the D string, and the upper G string. All 3 together as a chord. And actually, right here, if you want to, you can actually fret the B string. If you want to strum that one too. For Tom's part, I just like to hit the lower notes because John's parts are a lot more up here on the trebly strings. So I like to keep Tom's more low in the background. So I just do the lower three. And I'm going to strum that the same way as I did the E. 2 times. And then we're going to go down to the 2nd fret and make that same chord. And I'm going to strum the A chord a little differently. That's how I do it. Again, you can strum that however you want. And now we're going to do a little walk up. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, when I show you John's parts, I'm going to play the exact same thing as Tom is playing, but just a different way to play an E chord. The 2 of the E, then to the C, then to the A. But right here, after we play the A chord, we're just going to stop and we're going to strike the on the 2nd fret on the low G string. We're going to strike this A note right here twice. And then on the 3rd fret on the low G string, we're going to strike that note once. And then on the 4th fret on the low G string, we're going to strike it once. And on the 2nd fret on the D string, we're going to strike that E note once. Like. And when you hit the E note, just kill it. Just stop. So all that together, and that's all Tom plays. And when Tom hits that E note right there, he goes directly back into that E chord for a really long time until they go back into the little bridge right before the little chorus part. So I'm actually going to play that E right there 4 times. Last 2 will be going into the bridge. Then we're going to go to the C, into the A, and then do the little walk up, and then directly back into the E. And that's all Tom's part is. So yeah, if you got a buddy to play that with and you con him into playing Tom's boring part in the background, you get to play all John's really cool parts that I'm about to show you. Alright, now for John's parts. John, of course, starts out the song, and the way he would do it on a standard guitar is he strikes an E chord. But here, what I do now, you can strike an E chord wherever you want, if you want to do that. What I do is I just strike this E note right here on the 2nd fret on the D string. I just strike it once, and then what we're going to do, we're going to take our index finger and place that on the 2nd fret on the B string, our middle finger on the 3rd fret on the upper G string, and strike both of those together as a chord. And we're going to strike it once, and then we're going to slide up 1 fret. Just like that. And then what we're going to do is strike it again 3 times. With your pick or your fingers or whatever you're picking with. So we're going to strike once, slide into it, and when we slide into that right there, even though we're not striking that one, just slide into it, that's going to count as the first one. And then we strike it 3 more times for a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the quicker you do that, it's going to start sounding more like. And when you get a little quicker, so, and that's the basis of that little this little lick we're doing right here. So, and right here what we're going to do, we're going to strike the upper G string open one time. And then we're going to strike the 2nd fret on the upper G string, the A note, one time. And then we're going to strike the upper G string open again one time. So, and we're going to do one time, one more time, and then when you work up to it, it'll get a lot more smooth. Let's see. And what we're going to do right here is we're going to strike the D string open one time. And then we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret on the D string one time. Like that. And then we're going to strike that same note one time on the 2nd fret on the D string. And then we're going to strike on the 2nd fret on the low G string one time. And then we're going to hammer on to the 4th fret on the low G string one time. And then we're going to strike the 2nd fret on the D string one time. And then do it all over again. So, open, hammer on to the E note on the 2nd fret D string, strike it again, 2nd fret on the low G string once, hammer on to the 4th fret on the low G string once, open D string once, and then hammer back onto the E note on the 2nd fret on the D string, and then do it one more time. And when you strike that last D, go right back into and then do that one more time. And he just does that 2 times at the very beginning. So I'm going to play through that slowly. So you, like I said, you can play the E chord at the very beginning or just that E note like I do. And the second time, when we hit that E note, what I do here, he doesn't actually do this in the actual song. He actually stops playing, John does, and he sings his first line of vocals. And he doesn't come back in until we do that right there. But what I do here, because if you're playing this by yourself, you just don't want to stop playing right there. You want some kind of rhythm there. And you can, again, strum this however you want with a lower E chord. But I just keep all John's parts up here on the treble chords. So I'm going to play this E right here. We're going to take our index finger on the 2nd fret on the D string, ring finger on the 4th fret on the upper G string, pinky on the 5th fret on the B string. Strike all 3 of those together as a chord. And I just strum that 3 times. Like I do a down and then another down, up, like. You can strum it however you want, but when I do it 3 times like that, it fits in perfectly when I'm playing along with the real song. So I will do that 3 times. And then what we're going to do right here is take our, well, this is how I do it, but I'm going to use middle finger on the 3rd fret on the upper G string, and then we're going to slide to the 4th fret on the upper G string, like that. And then I'm going to take my ring finger on the 5th fret on the B string and strike it once. If you want to, if you don't want to do the little slide, you can take your index finger on the 3rd fret on the upper G string, hammer on with your middle finger to the 4th fret, and then strike the B string on the 5th fret. I just like doing the little slide. And then we go right back into, and right here we don't go back to the, that's just at the very beginning. Right here I just go back into the little E chord and strum it 3 times. Go right back into that. And when you hit the open G open, like I showed you before, earlier, right here is where we go into the bridge, and I play where earlier Tom's part, and down to the A and then the walk up. He plays the E right here. Right here I play John's E how I just showed you. That same E chord right there. I just strum it in the same way as I would Tom's part here. Then I go to the C chord, and then to the A, and I do the walk up. And right here, when you hit the E note in the walk up, where Tom would go directly back to the E chord, when John hits that E note, he goes directly back into that little lick right there. But this time when we go into the, before we go into the 2nd verse, when we do right here, we're going to keep our middle finger on the 4th fret on the upper G string, and now take your ring finger and place that on the 5th fret on the B string, and strike both of those together as a chord, like that. So just like that. And then we're going to the 2nd verse, which is different. We're going to change things around a little bit, but I'm going to play through from the very beginning through that 1st verse up to that part right there. So into the second verse. I'm going to go directly back to strumming the E chord 3 times, and we're going to go back into just like before, and here we're going to do just one of those, where before we did 2. Here we're just going to do 1 set of those, and we're going to go like we're going to do the next one, but we're just going to do that slide, and we're not going to strike it anymore. Just slide up, and right here what we're going to do is strike on the 4th fret on the upper G string 1 time, and then on the 2nd fret on the upper G string 1 time, and then the upper G string open 1 time, and then we're going to strike the upper G string on the 1st fret 1 time, and then we're going to strike the B string open 1 time, and now we're going to strike the E note on the 2nd fret on the D string 1 time, and then we're going to give it a really quick pull off, like just like that. I'm going to play that real slow so you get an idea what I'm saying, and then I'll explain it really quickly again. So and at the end of the little, that goes by really quick. You can hear it in the actual song. I just added that in there, but you have time to go back into 2 of these, and then back into the. So again, the same as before, except this time we only do one set of those, and then slide into the next one like you were going to do it. Now hit on the 4th fret on the upper G string once, the 2nd fret on the upper G string once, and kind of pull that off to the open upper G string once. Oops. And then 1 time on the 1st fret on the upper G string, and then the B string open 1 time, and on the 2nd fret on the D string 1 time. Do the same thing again. And right there, the second time, you want to go back into the little bridge thing. And now we're at the solo, but I'm going to play through that kind of a more faster pace to show you what it would be like playing along with the song. And I'm going to show you the solo at the end of the lesson, because I'm going to keep going on the rest of John's little parts, and then I'm going to show you the solo. But I'm going to play through that one. So So yeah, and right there is the first part in the song where we get to do another little cool lick they do. And right here we're going to fret the B string on the 3rd fret, and then we're going to slide up to the 5th fret on the B string real quickly, and then real quickly strike the 5th fret on the B string, the 3rd fret on the B string, and then the 4th fret on the upper G string, the 2nd fret on the upper G string, and then the upper G string open, and then the 2nd fret on the D string. One time, slide from the 3rd to the 4th, and then walk it down. So, and when you do it real quick, it's so you come out of that 2nd part, Alright, and that's where he plays the solo. I want to show you that after the rest of his parts. But okay, coming directly out of the solo, we're going to go and do one more of the, and then we're going to go into the 3rd verse. We're going to do our usual 3 of the E chord, except right here we don't do that anymore. We do 3, and right here I just strike the E chord 2 times real quick, like, and then I kill it. And we're going to go up to the 12th fret, and we're going to fret the upper G string and the B string, both of those together as a chord. And then we're going to go down to the 9th fret and play the same 2 notes as a chord. Up here on the 12th fret, we're going to strike that 4 times. I just do a down, up like this. And then strike the same chord on the 9th fret 1 time. So, and now we're going to do this little lick down here. This is how I had to figure it out. I figured it out a couple of different ways to show you. But the way I do it, I like to keep it on the trebly E note right here. But we're going to go down to the 5th fret and strike the B string 1 time. That E note right there. And then we're going to go to the 2nd fret and strike the upper G string once. And then we're going to strike the upper G string open 1 time. And hammer onto the 1st fret on the upper G string 1 time. Like. And then we're going to strike up on the 5th fret on the B string 1 time again. Like. When you practice it a little bit, it'll get a little easier, and then you go right back into the 3 of the, and then 2 more quick, and do that same thing again. Go up to the 12th fret 4 times, 1 time on the 9th fret, and do that same again. And then you go directly back into the little bridge. forget to do the little slide and walk down again that I showed you earlier. So I want to kind of play through that. Not real quick, but a little quicker to show you kind of how that part goes, the third verse. So coming back into it. And right there is pretty much the end of the song. He does one more little part that I want to show you. And okay, right there, what we're going to do is I hope the camera is picking this up, but we're going to go up to the 15th fret on the B string. We're going to just give that not a whole bend, but just a little quarter bend. Bend it and just release it back, and then strike on the 17th fret on the B string one time. Like that. And we're going to do another little walk down. We're going to strike the B string on the 17th fret once, 15th fret on the B string once, 16th fret on the upper G string once, 14th fret on the upper G string once, 12th fret on the upper G string once, and then on the 14th fret on the D string once. Like. It's kind of like, it was kind of like the and we're going to do that 2 times. And then we're going to go back to that little 2-note chord on the 12th fret we did earlier, pressing down the upper G string and the B string together as a chord. We're going to strike that again 4 times, and then 2 times, and then 1 time. Like. And then 1 time again, and then 2 times. And then we're going to strike that same little chord, 2-note chord, on the 9th fret 1 time. So. And then we're going to go back to that one little lick. We're going to start it off, it changes just a little bit for this one. We're going to do the same thing. And instead of striking the treble E note again, to end it, we're going to do this. When you hammer onto the 1st fret on the upper G string, we're going to strike the B string open, and then we're going to strike this E note on the 2nd fret on the D string once, and then we're going to strike the E note again on the 5th fret on the B string. So slowly it would sound like. And when you get to playing it quickly, I'm playing it terribly, but yeah, so. And then we're going to go back to the 12th fret and play that same little 2-note chord. The pressing down the upper G string and the B string. And right there, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of bend both of those notes, that little chord, like 3 times, and then strike the chord on the 9th fret, the same 2-note chord, 1 time. And that's pretty much the end of the song right there. It just fades out at that point. I'm actually going to, again, I'm going to play through the last verse, and then I'm going to show you how to play the solo. So. So at the very end, and then the little outro, go up to the 15th to the 17th fret. And that's the end of the song. It just fades right there, and it's awesome. So I'll be right back, and I'm going to show you how to play the solo. Alright, now the fun part of the song, the solo. I'm just going to play it, and then I'm going to show you how I've interpreted this for an open G. So. So we're going to go down here on the 2nd fret on the upper G string, and now I use these big old strings, and I've literally got to bend this with my ring finger and then use my index and my middle finger on the 1st fret to help me bend it, and I still can't bend it very well, but we're going to do 2 bends, and then while you're still holding the 2nd bend up, do 1 bend, release it, and then bend back up, strike it, and then release it back to its original position. And then we want to strike the upper G string open 1 time. And then we're going to strike the E note on the 2nd fret on the D string once, and then we're going to, on the 4th fret on the lower G string, we're going to strike 2 times, and then strike the E note again on the D string on the 2nd fret once. Slowly. We're going to repeat that exact same thing after this next one, but for the next one we're just going to bend that 4 times, just how we did it, but we don't strike it again and then release it. We just want to hold that and then release it back to its original position and strike the open G, or the upper G string open 1 time. So And now we're going to go to the third fret on the low G string once, and then hammer on to the fourth fret on the low G string once. And now we're going to strike the D string open one time, and then strike the E note on the D string on the second fret one time. Like so. And then we're going to do that first one again, the same way we did the first time. And now we're going to go and you can use whatever fingers you want, but we're going to fret on the fifth fret on the low G string. We're going to strike that one time. We're going to strike the D string open one time. And then we're going to hammer on to the E note on the D string on the second fret. And now we're going to strike the upper G string open one time. And now we're going to strike the D string open again one time, and hammer on to the E note on the second fret on the D string again. Now we're going to strike on the third fret on the upper G string once. So. And now we're going to strike the D string open again, hammer on to the E note on the D string second fret, and now we're going to strike the upper G string open again one time. Now we're going to strike the E note again on the second fret on the D string once. So. Okay, now we're going to strike, this is where it goes to the C chord. We're going to strike the D string on the second fret one time. Hit the D string open one time, and then hammer back on to that same note. Now we're going to strike this A note on the upper G string on the second fret one time, and then strike the upper G string open one time. Actually, right there, I do a little muted ghost note right there to go into the. I don't know if you can hear me plucking the string. So yeah. And right here, what I do is I fret these two, the upper B string on the second fret and the upper G string on the second fret. Both of those together as a chord. Sounds like I'm out of tune right now, but I'm going to slightly bend both of those notes. Sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. And then kill it. And then strike both of those, the upper G string and the B string open. So. And then directly back into. And that's where he goes back into the. The third verse. So yeah, that's the solo. I'm going to play through it slowly again. So yeah, just work up those bends right there. It's really cool. But here we go. Alright, I'll be back soon with another lesson. I hope you enjoyed this one, and thanks for watching.